July 19, 2016. A warm summer evening in Delta, Ohio, the kind where fireflies blink lazily over backroads and the air smells of cut grass. 20-year-old Sierra Joughin kissed her boyfriend goodbye, tugged her earbuds in, and pedaled away on her bicycle. 8 miles of open country stretched between her and home. 8 miles of quiet. 8 miles that would become her last. When Sierra didn't answer her phone that night, her family knew. The police found her bike abandoned in a cornfield near County Road 6, still upright as if she just stepped away. But the clues left behind told a darker story, a pair of men's sunglasses, a motorcycle helmet still damp with sweat, and tangled in the tall grass. Sierra's earbuds, music forever paused. This wasn't just a missing persons case. It was a hunt for a predator. And as investigators pieced together the evidence, they uncovered a trail leading straight to a reclusive mechanic, a man whose barn hid secrets no one could have imagined. Beneath layers of rotting straw and tractor parts lay a buried freezer, a mattress wedged between hay bales, and bags, dozens of them, filled with women's underwear, each meticulously labeled. But the most chilling discovery? A hatch, hidden in plain sight, and behind it, the truth about what really happened to Sierra Joughin. The last time anyone saw Sierra Joughin alive, she was laughing. It was just past 6 p.m. on July 19, 2016, still plenty of daylight left as she hugged her boyfriend Josh goodbye and swung her leg over that bicycle seat. She popped in her earbuds, hit play on her favorite song, and pedaled off down County Road 6, completely unaware that every rotation of those wheels was carrying her closer to a nightmare. When Sierra didn't answer her phone that evening, Josh assumed she'd gotten distracted. Maybe stopped to chat with a neighbor. But by nightfall, with no texts returned and her social media silent, her family's concern turned to panic. Just after midnight, deputies combing the route found her bicycle abandoned in a cornfield near the intersection of County Roads 6 and U. Not crashed, not damaged, just standing there, as if placed carefully in the tall grass. The scene was all wrong. Sierra's earbuds lay coiled in the dirt like a snake. A black motorcycle helmet rested nearby, still warm from someone's head. And then there were the sunglasses, cheap, men's aviators, the left lens cracked. None of these belonged to Sierra. None belonged to Josh. So whose were they? The FBI's first suspect was Josh himself, the last person to see Sierra alive. But his alibi was airtight. Security footage showed him at a gas station 10 miles away when Sierra vanished. Then, a break. A neighbor recalled seeing a local oddball, James Worley, struggling with his motorcycle near the cornfield that same evening. When agents knocked on Worley's door, the 56-year-old mechanic greeted them with a grin that didn't reach his eyes.
"Yeah, I was out riding. Bike kept stalling. Had to push the damn thing through that cornfield near County 6. Saw 2 bicycles just laying there. Thought that was weird."
2 bicycles. That's what he said. But deputies had only found one. Sierra's. And when Worley casually mentioned losing his helmet and sunglasses that night, the exact items left at the scene, detectives exchanged glances. This wasn't just a coincidence. This was a predator who'd made his first mistake. Because real monsters? They always slip up. And Jim Worley was about to learn just how costly that slip would be. Armed with a search warrant, investigators stepped onto James Worley's property, a sprawling farm that looked ordinary at first glance. But as they pushed open the creaking barn doors, the air itself seemed to change. The scent of hay and motor oil gave way to something sharper, something chemical. Bleach, heavy enough to make an officer cough into his sleeve. They moved stacks of decaying straw bales, and there it was, a hidden space just big enough for a single mattress, stained with dark patches. The walls were packed tight with hay, like some grotesque nesting place. And the smell, not just bleach now, but something metallic, Something old.
Jesus, there's a freezer buried under here.
It was empty when they pried it open, but the cadaver dogs didn't care. They went wild around it, paws scraping at the dirt, their noses picking up what human eyes couldn't see. Death had been here, recently. Then came the bags, dozens of them, meticulously organized, labeled in marker with sizes and dates. Lace, silk, cotton. Some still had price tags dangling. Others were crusted with brownish stains the detectives recognized immediately. Blood, dried, but not old. Worley's excuse? A lingerie business. Said he gifted them to women he met, but his computer history painted a different picture. Searches for hitchhiker hogtied, helpless gagged, how to clean blood from leather, and then the irrefutable proof. A forensic swab dabbed along his motorcycle's handlebars. A perfect DNA match. Sierra's blood. This wasn't just a crime scene anymore. It was a shrine, a predator's playground, and every twisted piece of evidence whispered the same terrifying question. How many others had there been? For 72 hours, James Worley played the role of misunderstood eccentric. That mask finally slipped when detectives slid a grainy surveillance photo across the table, his green pickup truck idling near the abduction site just 23 minutes after Sierra vanished. His response? A wet, hollow laugh that made even seasoned agents shift in their seats.
You think I'm stupid enough to leave evidence?
But he was. The truck's tire tread matched impressions near Sierra's bike. Soil under the fender came from that exact cornfield. And when confronted with the timeline, Worley's story twisted, suddenly remembering he'd returned to search for his missing helmet. A lie so flimsy, the detective actually smiled. Because they knew what he'd really been doing that night. Not searching, not panicking. Loading Sierra's body into that truck under cover of darkness, her limbs already stiffening in the July heat. 3 days later, cadaver dogs led them to a shallow grave in a fallow soybean field. Sierra was found curled on her side, wrists and ankles cinched together with industrial zip ties. An adult diaper stretched over her hips, Worley's grotesque signature. But the worst detail, the gag, a thick rubber ball strapped so deep in her throat, the medical examiner could still see teeth marks in the foam. This wasn't his first time. In 1990, 26 years earlier, Worley had dragged a 26-year-old woman into his truck at Screw Point. She escaped by hurling herself into traffic. He served 2 years. And because Ohio had no violent offender registry in 1990, when he moved back to Delta in 2014, no one knew. No one warned Sierra. The clock in the interrogation room kept counting seconds as Worley finally stopped talking. For the first time all night, the barn was silent. The freezer stood empty. And 15 miles away, under a thin blanket of fresh-turned earth, Sierra Joughin waited for justice. March 22, 2018. After just 6 hours of deliberation, a Lucas County jury returned with their verdict. Guilty on all counts: aggravated murder, kidnapping, abuse of a corpse. When the judge sentenced James Worley to death, he showed no reaction. No remorse. Just the same vacant stare Sierra had likely seen in those final moments. But Worley wasn't done. From his cell on Ohio's death row, he penned a 105-page handwritten manifesto. Page after page of cramped, meticulous script, part confession, part delusion, claiming police had framed him. That Sierra's death was an accident. That the freezer was just for deer meat. The same lies, polished to a sickening shine. Meanwhile, Sierra's mother did something extraordinary. She took ownership of Worley's property, every square foot where her daughter had suffered, and brought in bulldozers. As the first wall of that farmhouse collapsed, she later told reporters, "I felt Sierra's hand on my shoulder, finally free from that place of pure evil." But her fight didn't stop there. Working with Ohio legislators, she championed Sierra's Law, a bill creating the state's first violent offender registry. No more loopholes. No more 2-year sentences for predators who kidnapped women at Screw Point. When the governor signed it into law in December 2018, Sierra's mother held up her daughter's photo and said simply, "This is why." Today, the field where Sierra was found grows wildflowers instead of soybeans. The violent offender registry bears her name. And James Worley? He sits in a 6x9 cell at the Chillicothe Correctional Institution awaiting execution. His last appeal was denied in 2023. His date with the needle comes in 2025. But the true legacy of this case isn't measured in verdicts or vengeance. It's in the teenage girls who now bike down County Road 6 without looking over their shoulders. It's in the detectives who keep photos of Sierra's smile in their case files. And it's in every family who will never have to ask, how did we not know, ever again? Sierra's story is a nightmare but also a warning. Predators like Worley hide in plain sight, armed with charm and calculation. Yet one slip, a forgotten helmet, a buried freezer can bring their darkness into the light. Share this video so her name isn't forgotten. And if you have information on any unsolved disappearances, call the tip line below. You could save a life.